Thank you for joining Wars of the Rosies. And this is Baldwyn Encampment, taken from the Encyclopedia of Freemasonry by Albert G. Mackey. Baldwyn Encampment, an original encampment of Knights Templars at Bristol in England, said to have been established from time immemorial, and refusing to recognize the authority of the Grand Conclave of England or other encampments of the same character are said to have existed in London, Bath, York, and Salisbury, from a letter written by David W. Nash, Esquire, a prominent member of the Bristol encampment in 1853, and from a circular issued by the body in 1857, I derived the following information. The Order of Knights Templars had existed in Bristol from time immemorial, and the Templars had large possessions in that city. About the beginning of this century, Brother Henry Smith introduced from France 3 degrees of the ancient and accepted rite, which, with the degree of Rose Crux, long previously connected with the encampment, into an order called the Royal Order of Knighthood, so that the encampment conferred the following 7 degrees. 1. Masonic Knight Templar. 2. Knight of St. John of Jerusalem. 3. Knight of Palestine. 4. Knight of Rhodes. 5. Knight of Malta. 6. Knight Rose Crux of Heirdom. 7. Grand Elect Knight of Kadash. A candidate for admission must be a Royal Archmason, but the degrees are not necessarily taken in the order in which they have been named, the candidate being permitted to commence at any point. Nash giving the following account of the nature of the difficulties with the Grand Conclave of England. The Duke of Sussex, having been installed a Knight Templar at Paris, I believe Sir Sidney Smith, then Grand Master, was created Grand Master of the Knights Templars in England. For some cause or other, he never would countenance the Christian degrees connected with Masonry, and would not permit a badge of one of these degrees to be worn in a craft lodge. In London, of course, he ruled supreme, and the meetings of Knights Templars there, if they continued at all, were degraded to the mere level of public house meetings. On the death of the Duke of Sussex, it was resolved to rescue the order from its degraded position, and the Grand Conclave of England was formed. Some of the officers of the Duke of Sussex's original encampment, which he held once, and I believe once only, being then alive. In the meantime, of the 3 original encampments of England, the genuine representatives of the Knights of the Temple, 2 had expired, those of Bath and York, leaving Bristol the sole relic of the order, with the exception of the encampments that had been created in various parts of the country, not holding under any legitimate authority, but raised by knights who had, I believe, without exception, been created in the encampment of Baldwyn at Bristol. Under these circumstances, the Knights of Baldwyn felt that their place was at the head of the order, and though willing for the common good to submit to the authority of Colonel Tinton or any duly elected Grand Master, they could not yield precedence to the encampment of observation, the original encampment of the Duke of Sussex, derived from a foreign and spurious source, the so-called Order of the Temple in Paris, nor could they consent to forego the privileges which they had from an immemorial period, or permit their ancient and well-established ceremonies, custom, and laws to be revised by persons for whose knowledge and judgment they entertained a very reasonable and well-grounded want of respect. The encampment of Baldwyn therefore refused to send representatives to the Grand Conclave of England or to acknowledge its authority in Bristol until such time as its claims should be treated with the consideration it is believed they deserve. In 1857, the Baldwyn encampments at Bristol and Bath sought a reconciliation with the Grand Conclave of England, but were repulsed, and consequently in the same year they established, or, to use their own word, revived, the ancient supreme Grand and Royal Encampment of Masonic Knights Templars, with a constituency of 7 bodies and elected Nash Grand Master. But this body did not have a long or a prosperous existence, and in 1860, the Camp of Baldwyn surrendered its independence and was recognized as a constituent, but with immemorial existence, of the Grand Conclave of England and Wales. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Rosies. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.